Siesta Sand Live. Siesta Sand Live is broadcast from Captain Kurt's Village. It's Siesta Key's home to great food, great drinks, great music, and great times. Look for the giant American flag.
Welcome to Siesta Sand Live. I'm your host, Natalie Gutwine, and we are back here at Captain Kurt's. It's a little bit chilly today. We're missing our sunshine, but even Siesta Key does get cool every now and then. However, I have an amazing lineup for you today. If you've been here on this island anytime at all, you've heard the name Lourdes Ramirez. She is an absolute amazing advocate for this island. She's somebody that we all have to thank for keeping it the way it is. She's constant watchdog for the density and the zoning rules here on Siesta Key. And I've got a wonderful interview lined up for her. I'm sure she's going to have a lot of great information. So stay tuned.
The next segment is brought to you by the Judy Berger team, part of Sotheby's International Realty. Whether a buyer or a seller, you'll be delighted with their service. And by Altez Vacations. It's the perfect place to go to find that perfect place to rent.
Hello, and welcome back to Siesta Sand Live. I'm here with Lourdes Ramirez, a Siesta Key legend. I want to hear all about how you got here, how long you've been here. I think the public would rather hear it from you, how long you've been here and your story. So how did you get here? Let's just start there.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on your show and the podcast.
You're welcome.
I started to visit Siesta Key like many people have done in the past. My husband had family down here, and we used to visit in the 80s. And by 1999, when I got married, we decided to move down here permanently. Siesta Key has been always beautiful, and I always thought it was just a great place to live and eventually retire.
Oh, so one of the questions I got a lot when I was telling people that you were coming on the show is, how did you get so involved? What made you such an advocate? Was there a turning point that you said, I need to get involved here on this island?
That's a great question. It's true. In about 2001, I got contacted by a neighbor about a development in our neighborhood, just next door to her, where they were tearing down these small cottages and building these McMansions, 2 for 1.
Oh.
And she was very concerned that the county was adding a lot of impervious surface, a lot of big buildings. So she contacted me as a neighbor and invited me over to her home. Her name is Ann Kaplan, and that started it. It started me getting more involved in zoning.
And you're an attorney by trade.
No, actually, I'm not.
Oh, you're not? I thought you were. Okay.
I get that a lot. I do get that a lot. What happened is early in my career, I used to read government contracts for a living. I was a contract administrator, so I know a lot of legalese, and I do understand the zoning code very well. So people believe I'm an attorney, but I'm not.
Wow, yeah, I think, that is what the general public thinks. So that was the turning point. And then from there, you ended up on the board of the Siesta Key Association.
Yes, in 2003. I was on the Siesta Key Association from 2003 to 2011.
That is a long time. And you were the president?
Yes, out of those 9 years, I was president 5 out of those 9 years. And my focus has always been density on the Key the entire 9 years. Since I started with zoning before joining Siesta Key Association, and I just continued it throughout that tenure on that board.
So with that, going down that road, what is on your radar right now? What are you looking at? What's going on right now that's got your ears perked?
Well, as you know, we had those hotels proposed in 2021 and approved by Sarasota County. And since I knew the zoning code very well, the moment they started talking about hotels with hundreds of rooms, I knew it was in violation of our growth laws known as the comprehensive plan. So as you know, I took it to court when the county approved those, at least the one hotel in the village, and we won both in state court and local court that the county violated the comp plan. So currently, what's happening is that because the courts made it very clear that we have growth laws, and these laws have to be abided by the county, they there are proposals by Benderson and others to change those laws. So that's the one I'm keeping my eye on, is that proposal to change our growth laws to allow mega-sized hotels on Siesta Key.
So Dave Ballot was here last week. He just had his approved. What are your thoughts on Dave's hotel?
So and I'm glad you asked that question because I get that a lot. People don't understand that if the courts ruled that hotels that have high density is in violation of our growth laws, how did Dave Ballott's hotel?
Right. How did it get through?
How did it get through? So it's a technicality. It's a legal technicality. The problem is when you, as a citizen, decide to challenge the county for approving a hotel, you have to challenge each and every hotel in court. So I challenged the one in the Village. We had a group who challenged the one here in Old Stickney Point Road. But that challenge happened in 2021, at least starting. By 2022, when Dave Ballot proposed his mega hotel, we were both involved in our legal challenges. We were spending hundreds of dollars on our legal fees. We didn't take that one on. Plus, neither one of us, the two groups who sued, lived near Wells Fargo's site. So that did not get sued as an individual project. So when the county lost the battles, my battle saying that they violated the comp plan, and the courts are very clear that the density has to be 36 units per acre according to the courts. I think it's 26 units per acre, but it's still not 100 units per acre or 170 units per acre. They turned Dave Ballot down for his permit. Of course, he sued. He says he wasn't involved in the litigation, and the courts ruled that he was right in that respect, that it wasn't challenged. But that court case also stated clearly that that hotel he has is in violation of the comprehensive plan. So under a legal technicality, it can go forward, but it's considered now a non-conforming building because it doesn't conform to our comp plan.
Are you worried that some of the other hotels are going to be able to be built? Dave's is 112 rooms, and is it 2.5 acres he has there? He has a much larger area that he's building a hotel on. I know the ones down in the Village are on very, very small pieces of property that they're trying to put. I think it's close to 200 rooms, like you said.
Right, on less than an acre. It was 170 rooms on less than an acre. The courts made it clear, even in that case, there's a comprehensive plan, there's a maximum density allowed per acre, and this is just a legal technicality that he got away with having a bigger hotel with more density, but the others have to follow the comprehensive plan. The county has to follow the comprehensive plan. So it's not as if anyone can come and say, okay, David Ballot got his, where is mine? That's why we still have to monitor those proposals going forward.
Well, I know that's what everybody has been asking me since they know I interviewed Dave. And say, well, somebody else got to be able to get in, and because Dave is, his is 112 rooms. It's not going to be as insane as some of these others, and so everybody asks. The next question is that is Benderson, are they going to be able to get through? So I think hearing it from you, it's going to ease a lot of minds that if you're not on it, then, you said you are, but so we really don't need to worry about somebody coming in and building one of those 200 units on a half an acre.
They're going to have to change the comprehensive plan, which is what they're proposing, right, in order to get through with that. And we're going to fight that tooth and nail, especially after what we went through.
Right.
We no longer are speculating if we get hit by a hurricane. We got hit by a hurricane and all the destruction that occurred with it. So it's even more important to protect the people who live here now, to protect the property we have now, and not to add more density and intensity to our fragile Barrier Island.
So can you explain exactly what is going on with the other projects? Is it Benderson that's proposed the change in density? and the comprehensive plan?
Benderson is proposing to change the comprehensive plan, and there are 3 proposed hotels attached to that change of the growth laws. And at this point, staff is still waiting for Benderson to provide some more information. I will tell you a few things, so in case people were wondering what's happening there. When Benderson proposed a change to our comp plan, he proposed changes to 10 different policies, objectives, and goals. So just to explain, the comprehensive plan, which is a considered growth laws and is always backed by the courts as absolute. You can't just reinterpret the laws in the comprehensive plan. It's made of goals, objectives, and policies. And those policies would tell you how the county is going to go forward with growth. And so Benderson had proposed changes to 10 of those policies. And I'm happy to say that staff is pushing back a little bit on some of them. So, for example, one policy says you should not increase hurricane evacuation times. Now, what people should know is state law requires that municipalities and government have a maximum time to evacuate their area. And in most places, it's supposed to be like 12 hours max evacuation time. So if you have a lot of people in an area and it's going to take longer to evacuate the area, you cannot add more people to that area. Right now, Sarasota County is estimated to evacuate Siesta Key in 69 hours.
Oh,
So obviously, much more than the 12 hours maximum that the state requires. So the idea of adding more people to an island to evacuate is insane. So there is a policy in our comp plan saying do not increase hurricane evacuation times. With that in mind, well, Benderson had originally proposed that to change that policy to say do not increase hurricane evacuation, and I'm paraphrasing because it's all legalese, don't increase hurricane evacuation times for residents. And I'm trying to figure out, well, what do you do
do
with
the other people not matter? Do the tourists just get to drown and nobody cares? Is that the proposal?
That was insane to just add the word for residents, thinking that's one way
Right.
to
Some lawyer somewhere.
thought of that
Right,
idea.
thought that, yeah.
And well, fortunately, emergency management in the county pushed back, and they said that we are not going to separate people in evacuations, so take that out. So that's one of the many changes that did not so far go forward.
So to change that comp plan,
Yes.
can you explain how? Is it the county staff or is it the commissioners? What do they have to do to get that comprehensive plan change done?
Question. Of course, the developer proposes a comp plan change. They have to have a public workshop, which we had in January. It goes to the Planning Commission first, which is an advisory board, and they review it and make their comments and make their recommendations, and then it does go to the County Commission. Now, our charter, which is our local constitution, requires a supermajority vote of the County Commission in order to make a comp plan change that involves density and intensity, and any kind of.
And that's 4 of the 5.
That's 4 out of the 5. So they need 4 votes to get the
A
comp
plan
change.
change. Well, that's a great time to bring up Tom Knight.
Oh, Tom Knight.
So, we know Mark Smith is going to be a no. He is not going to. He's not going to vote for a comp plan change for Siesta Key.
Right.
So, Tom Knight, how do you feel about Tom Knight coming on? Where do you think is he Siesta strong? Do you think he's gonna keep that supermajority from happening?
I am praying that he is, because he had a lot of support from Siesta Key during his campaign. I've known Tom Knight a long time, back when I was president of Siesta Key Association.
Oh,
And,
right.
Yeah, he used to
He
come to our
was that when he
meetings.
was the sheriff?
He was the sheriff, and he always thought Siesta Key. I remember back then he used to say Siesta Key is sacred. He always thought very well of Siesta Key. So I'm hoping. I know you never know, but I'm really hoping he's our no. So then that would be helpful in our fight.
So, what about the other 3? Where do you think their votes?
I would think Joe Nowonder Now, Siesta Key is broken into 2 county commission districts.
Right. He's got a little bit on he's got the south end. Yeah.
Right, starting Stickney Point South. And he came on to Siesta Key right after Hurricane Helene. He saw the devastation, and he called me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he called me to check on not only my home, but also to see if there's anything he thinks I could tell him about what Siesta Key needs. And that was about 2 days after the hurricane. So I think he saw what can happen. And, he's Sarasota born and raised, I believe. I know he's been on Sarasota a long time. And seeing that happen on Siesta Key, I'm hoping,
Right.
will make him understand how important it is not to add more people.
I hope that you're right, because that changed for a lot of us. We went from being bulletproof, we thought,
Yes.
to all of a sudden we are not. And we had 2 hurricanes so quickly, and the devastation and the trash not getting cleaned up on time. And, there was just one thing after the other. And I'm really hoping that it does change some minds when it comes to the government, and they realize that they do have to protect us out here.
Yes, it's not an aesthetic thing when it comes to protecting us. It's people's lives, and I think that's what we're going to have to stress. I know how other people managed through the hurricane. I know I lost everything, but I was here during the storm surge, and I had to escape.
Oh, wow.
And so it's very devastating for those of us who had to go through storm surge trying to find higher ground. I had a neighbor who had
I was
a
going to
second
say,
story.
where did you go? Because I know where you're located. And how much water did you get in your home?
Well, I had 2 feet of storm surge. When I first
Wow.
noticed the water was coming in, now, mind you, it was 9 o'clock at night. This Hurricane Helene was already at the Big Bend area. And I thought we dodged another bullet. And all of a sudden, I heard water coming through our doors. And that's when I realized it was storm surge. And fortunately, my next door neighbor has a 2nd-story patio. She wasn't there, but I managed to go up to that patio and stayed overnight, waiting for a rescue.
On the patio?
On the patio. On the patio. So the scary part is when I noticed the water, it was about ankle deep. By the time I got to her stairs to go up the patio, it was up to my hip. And it was
Wow.
starting to slip.
It did come in fast. People really didn't have much time. And so many people stayed here. That's kind of, we got so used to, oh, nothing's going to happen here. I mean, I can't tell you how many hurricanes I've just sat and watched from my friend's backyard, and we just watch them come in, and, it's windy for a little bit, and then it goes away. It doesn't even last that long, really. So many of us were just naive, and I almost came back on. I ended up not, thank goodness, or I would have lost my car, and my house is elevated, thank goodness. So I wasn't part of that I didn't lose everything. I lost a lot, but not everything. And I can't imagine what you're going through right now, and everybody else that lost everything. Your shoes, your toothbrush, your everything.
Yeah, we lost both cars, all our furniture, some, keepsakes, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And, the thing is, of the 11,000 units out here on Siesta Key, about 1/3 had substantial damage. And a lot of people don't realize how many people lost so much out here.
did. Well, we are going to take a short break, and we will be right back.
The following segment is brought to you by Beach Bazaar, located in the heart of Siesta Village. Everything for the beach, and we do mean everything. And by FAM Development, the area's best in custom-built homes. Start living your dream on and around Siesta Key.
We're back. We're here with Lourdes Ramirez. I want to talk a little bit about the 50% rule. We're a lot more familiar with that now than what we were before. But I know a lot of our viewers probably don't know what that is, why it matters. We're in a flood zone, so every single structure on Siesta Key has to abide by the FEMA 50% rule. A lot of people don't realize that's the federal government. It does not come from Sarasota County. It's not anything that we made up. It's Do you want to explain a little bit from your knowledge of it?
Yes, the 50% rule is complicated.
Right, to say
And
the least, yeah.
A lot of people are very concerned, not only because the 50% rule may require them to elevate their homes, but it's also delaying permitting. You know, we hear a lot of people saying, oh, you should get a permit within 3 days. Well, the permit itself, the permit people are reviewing it in 3 days, but the floodplain manager group, which is part of Sarasota County zoning department, is taking weeks. And that's because of the FEMA 50% rule.
Just the sheer number of homes they have to look at. Yeah.
And the evaluation of each home.
Now, I did speak with the flood administrator, and he said after the storm, they went out and took a photograph of every single house on the barrier islands and in the flood zones. What people ask, why is there a 50% rule? My answer is because the government started this program, and correct me if I'm wrong on anything, because there were areas that just kept flooding. And the government would have to come in and they would have to, they would give money. They got tired of giving money and said, okay, you're in a floodplain. You can only do improvements up to 50% of the value of the improvements on the house. If at any point, it's not just after a flood, but of course that's when it really comes into play, is after a flood like this. So now we've got all these people whose house flooded, and they're looking at it going, wait, you mean I only have $150,000 of work that I can do? But you want to talk a little bit about that and your own personal experience?
You're absolutely right why FEMA is required. Also, it also is required if our area is participating in the National Flood Insurance Program. We technically get a 25% discount according to FEMA. And a lot of us who get the bills don't believe that.
Right.
But we get a 25% discount
on our flood insurance.
On flood insurance because we participate in the FEMA, flood program, which includes the 50% rule. So I want to use my house as an example. With the 50% rule, and it's true, renovations under flood or renovations overall, you have to follow the 50% rule. So the county is the one who evaluates that. So what they do is they look at your property. Now they look at the cost of the structure only.
Right.
So in my case, for example, the county, according to the property appraiser, values my structure, the building, at $111,000, which is very low.
Right.
Anyway, according to the county, that means I cannot improve my home more than 50% of that value, which is what, $55,000. Of course, I find that that's low. I called the floodplain manager in the county, and he even maybe marked, well, that's pretty low. I'm like,
Right,
yes,
that's
very
one
low.
of the lower ones. Yeah.
So we do have in our zoning code the 50% rule, and it says that the county has to accept the higher value of either the property appraiser or a certified private appraiser, and that's what I did.
Okay, that's what I think. That's what we're recommending
Yes.
to our real estate our clients. Get an appraisal from somebody. So I'm assuming that raised your value significantly.
Yes, because the private appraiser looked at the square footage, and he attached what it would cost to rebuild it today, of course, per square foot, and came up with a lot higher value, almost $300,000. And so
wow.
now I can improve my home up to $150,000 worth of improvements. If I go beyond that, then I would be forced to elevate my home, which is very costly. That can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I do recommend looking for a certified appraiser if you find your appraisal too low in the property appraiser's website.
Have you found anything that doesn't get included in the 50% rule?
Oh, that's the reason why the floodplain people take so long, because they include everything, even things that don't require a permit. So they have this worksheet that's a few pages long that you have to put in all your costs. The cost of mitigation, when you had to tear everything out, even the cost of cabinets that you're replacing.
Right.
And usually that's not included.
Right. If you're just doing, if you're just doing a renovation, we've told our clients for years, you can do a lot of this before you pull a permit. You can do cabinets, you can do countertops, as long as you're not moving electrical or a wall, something like that. There are things you can do, but after a flood, you don't have that. Everything is going in.
Everything gets added up. that's why it starts to become really expensive for all of us who's trying to renovate, to try to look at everything. And then you start to look at things differently as well. When, for example, my kitchen, of course, you had to tear out all the bottom cabinets because it was underwater. They left the top cabinet, so do I try to match that? A lot of people are going through
Right.
that. Or
Yeah.
if I replace the whole thing, the flood insurance program is not going to cover the top cabinets. So you kind of like, okay, I can replace the bottom, maybe
Right.
with a different color that kind of makes it look a little
Well, it is
coordinated.
popular now to do 2 different colors, so
It's
feel
true.
free. I can help you pick out colors if you need that.
Thank you. So that's what a lot of people have choices to make.
Do you have any recommendations, since you're going through the process yourself, or anybody out there listening, anything to help them get through that process?
I think finding a certified appraiser, getting a contractor who understands the 50% rule is really great. I have a contractor who completely understands and tries not to sell me on the top of the line anything because he knows I
Right, you have to keep it,
You
yeah,
have to
below.
keep it. And the other thing I recommend is to reconsider some of your choices. So I had hardwood floors. I'm not going to have hardwood floors in the future. I mean, I'm hoping we never go through this again. But
Right.
I am going to try to mitigate any losses that might
Any
happen in the
future
future.
losses.
Although I am going to do some storm reviews. How do I get it from coming in the first
In the
place?
house,
So I'm going to
right.
work on that as well. Because of all of us who really love Siesta Key, I mean, we're not going to move.
Right,
So
no, we're not.
we're going to just fix and move on. And some people have decided, you know what, they're going to tear down and build up. God bless them. I think that's great. But for those of us who love our little cottages, we want to just fix it and try to prevent it from happening again.
Right. So back to your political and your activism, I think is a better word. What are you most proud of everything you've done and been involved with on Siesta Key?
The zoning is very. I'm proud of that, especially winning those two lawsuits because
Those were big. Those were recent.
and they were recent, 2023, and it's years of fighting the county on zoning issues. The hotel was not the first time we had to fight the county for not increasing density. There was a proposal back in 2007 when I was president of SKA that the county wanted to change it in the residential multifamily area, allowing more density. So it's time and time again, but the thing is having the courts reaffirm what I've been saying for years, you just can't increase density on a barrier island.
That was huge.
Yeah.
That was very, very big. And now we've got court cases to look at. Thank goodness when these mega hotels come in. So back to the other projects a little bit. You said as of right now, you're waiting on Benderson. You're waiting to see what they come back with. Is
Yes.
that correct?
I monitor it from time to time, and I'm glad, as I mentioned, they went from 10 policies they wanted to change. I think they're down to about 5 or 6, and we're going to watch those and other projects. You know, there was a proposal to change how multifamily or condos get rebuilt. We won that battle because it was going to make it taller.
Explain that a little bit?
Sure. There was a proposal back over the summer and this was before the hurricanes. Right now, if a condo structure gets hit by a hurricane, they can rebuild up to the density. Let me explain. Let me go back a little bit. Most of the structures here built in the 70s, from the 40s to the 70s, were built with a lot higher density that is allowed today. So they're all non-conforming density structures. And a lot of these condos have multiple more than
Right.
that's allowed. So the zoning code says that if you get hit by a hurricane in your condo structure, you can rebuild that density. But if
Back
you
to what you had before.
exactly, and but if you voluntarily want to tear it down, you got to meet the current zoning code. And so there was a proposal to change that. But in that proposal, they were going to make the condo structures taller and wider, just massive.
Right.
And that was our biggest concern. We believe in property rights. We don't want people to lose their homes
Yeah.
that they, legally own. But we didn't want a 12-story structure to become a 14-story structure because they were going to add parking underneath. which is
right.
not currently happening in a lot of the 1970s condos. So we won that battle. So there are little battles that we go and continue to fight. I started a nonprofit called Protect Siesta Key, focused completely on the comprehensive plan. And I've been using that venue to go forward and continue to fight our comp plan changes.
So, if somebody is looking, they want to donate, how do they find you?
Yes, we have a website called protectsiestakey.org, and they can donate there. We have petitions there. Anything that they want information. I even have a hurricane resource page on that website, so people can access things like how to get FEMA and the 50% rule.
There's a lot of that going on right now.
We need a lot of information.
What is your biggest concern? What are you most concerned about right now? What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night is concerned about the structure of infrastructure on Siesta Key. Knowing that many of the lift stations, for example, were underwater multiple times that last year. And they have to fix that. They have to raise some of the equipment. Knowing that some of the pipes and sewer stormwater is backed up, they're old. I'm very concerned that, yes, we're concerned about zoning and adding people, but we also don't have the infrastructure currently to, help the people who exist and live here now.
Well, I don't know, a lot of people realize there was sewage in the water that got into all of our homes.
Yeah.
That was probably a result of what you were just talking about, not having the lift stations lifted, having them all on grade. So I agree. I do think that the infrastructure is going to have to be built. It's going to have to be better. We're going to have to do better next time.
Yeah, the infrastructure has been here since the 1950s. And I think that that's the problem.
Not much update since then.
Not a lot of updates, and it really needs. So even when they turned down the water, for Helene, they did not turn off the sewer, which is why we had sewage water go through a lot of our homes. And for those people who have decided that they want to keep some of their stuff, they may want to reconsider if it's under that kind of water. But I think that we really need to push the county to invest in our infrastructure. And I think that's something we really all need to push the county to. Yes, let's protect our key from zoning increases.
Right.
But let's also start to tell the county, you got to fix our infrastructure.
The cleanup. What have you heard from the county about our final pickup days and what we need to be doing?
The debris pickup. And a lot of people don't realize how important it was to clear out our debris. And not only because of the fact the island reeked the first few weeks. It really did smell.
Yeah, it was.
And it was unsightly, but it's even more than that. It was also causing a lot of emotional pain for people who saw their stuff out there day in
Right,
and day
just
out.
staring at that pile.
Looking at that one thing like, I wish I didn't lose that. But also the thieves that were coming through people's trash. Now, I don't mind people taking metal. They're going to recycle it. But they were also going through people's files, looking for that check or that bank statement. I mean, it's horrible, the things that happen to the people out here. So anyway, I'm glad they're picking up the debris. And they're doing the final pass. So everyone has to have their stuff out now. And you'll see that the county is going to, the next 2 weeks, start cleaning up the last of the debris.
Final passes. Yeah.
If you do not do that, and you have to do it within 10 feet of the street, otherwise the county will not pick it up. And so that's something I learned because I was like 20 feet in, and I'm like, okay, gotta move everything forward. But also, you have to realize that it's on you if you don't have it out now. You have to go then hire somebody. Then if you don't do it, if you don't clean up your area, believing that the county eventually is going to do it, you're going to start getting code enforcement fines.
Oh.
So it's really important to.
So if you're going to utilize the county, you need to get it out there quickly. And make sure they know about it.
That's true. They can call solid waste, call the county saying my stuff is still out there. Please make sure that I'm picked up soon.
So, any political aspirations for you? You've run before. What do you think? What are you thinking about running again, or Where are you with that?
I never say never. And I love what I do. Being an advocate for the community, and I really think that there's a lot of value of having citizens speak to the county and convince them. And it's a little bit of a headache to run for office.
Right. It takes a lot out of you.
It does.
Your
It does.
family and everybody around you.
But I'm looking at 2026 to see if Mark Smith wants to run for re-election. If he does, I want to help him. He's been doing really well for Siesta Key. I'm not going to run against him. And Joe Newender is also running. Again, if they want to, continue to help Siesta Key, then I'm willing to help them, and I'm not planning to put my name in the hat, But if Mark decides, for whatever crazy reason he doesn't, then I have to really think about that.
Oh, that's good to know. We'd be happy to have you on the podcast. If all that falls out and you need to make an announcement, let us know.
Yeah, I will.
So what do you think the future holds for Siesta Key?
I'm kind of sad because I know the Siesta Key is going to change. I mean,
Right.
it's the realistic.
Especially after these hurricanes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somewhat, I love to walk in the morning, and I see all of the old cottages, things that are built, and I love the variety of different types of homes that's been built over the decades. And to know that it's going to probably be torn down, it's going to be built up, it's going to be probably a little sanitized, as I call it.
Yeah.
It's sad. I'm also sad about people who lived here for decades or probably had property here, maybe from their parents, but can't afford to fix it, and they're going to leave. These are the people that my heart breaks for them, because I can understand the feeling, and I was wading through that water. I'm not going to go through this. And then I shook that off and said, okay, you got to move forward. But a lot of people can't. And that's heartbreaking, because we had two situations on Siesta Key. We had the hurricanes. We also had the condo rules that was forcing people to rebuild their condos, not come from scratch, but to fix it.
No, but
And it cost some condo owners, tens of thousands of dollars. And
there was a huge deferred maintenance issue on a lot of condos. And if people aren't involved in the condo system, they don't really know what was going on there. But you're right, that had already started, and which it was probably a good thing. It probably saved some of these buildings during these hurricanes, because they did have to get them up to a new standard.
That's true. That's true. I just wish that they pushed the cost of that a little more than just such a short term, because the impact of those assessments pushed a lot of old families out of Siesta Key. So I'm sure there are going to be great people coming in, but my heart breaks for those who are forced to leave the Key.
Right. So if somebody wants to get involved, if you're listening to this podcast and there's so many people are passionate about Siesta Key, what can they do? What do you recommend?
I think that they should, after the holidays, because I know we all need.
Oh, right. Especially this year, everybody needs to regroup and hit 2025 running. But you're right. I do think over the next couple of weeks, we all just need to kind of relax.
Enjoy our
I actually have a comedian on next week. So we're going to finish out the year with a comedian who lives here on Siesta Key. I'm very excited about that. So
that's a great idea, because I know it's a changed life. I tell people it's as if life's pushed the reset button on me. Here you're going to have to start all over again. And it's hard during the holidays, but I'm trying, and I hope everybody has a great holiday. But after that, I think they should get involved in any organization they feel comfortable with, protectsiestakey.org or Siesta Key Association. Get involved, go to the meetings, and then be ready when we need you.
Are there any upcoming meetings or workshops right now that that anybody needs to look out for, or maybe even attend?
Not yet. Not that I'm aware of. There is a little quirk in the system in which, since Benderson had their public workshop in January, they had 9 months to have a planning commission meeting, and that didn't occur. So they'll probably have to do another public workshop. So we might
Is
have
that because of the hurricanes? Is that why they're going to get an extension on that?
No, I think it's just normal. If you have a proposal in front of the county commission, you have a public workshop. 9 months later, within 9 months, you have to have a planning commission meeting, and they did not. They can extend it to 12 months to see. Otherwise, you have to start the public workshop process again. You don't start the application again, but you have to do the process again. And so we'll keep an eye on that. I'm always looking at the public notices, and I'm in touch with staff asking what's going on. But right now, we don't have any scheduled meetings.
Well, that's good to know.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being such a steward for Siesta Key. It's people like you that have kept this island what we all love. You're such an advocate. You do so much work. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the podcast. You're welcome anytime. If there is a workshop coming up or something you need us to know about, just let me know. We're happy to let the public know. But thank you for everything you do. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell people what's going on, and I really appreciate this podcast.
Well, thank you very much, and we will see you soon.
Thanks.
Wow, that was awesome.
Great information. I mean, hopefully people don't feel overwhelmed. Like,
You ladies are awesome. That might have been the best one, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think that. You're such a natural. You're such a natural. Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I know Natalie, but. Put your jacket on. You look cold.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. It is cold up there. Well, I grew up on the sea, so.
Yeah.
So, Lourdes, you know, the last time you and I talked, I said, if we decide to make a run, I'm all for it.
Yes.
And I didn't really get the answer that Natalie asked you. If you had the aspirations, I heard you say it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It
Yeah,
is.
we know that.
It's horrifying lot of work. But, you know, I really want to support Mark if he runs for re-election. Because he's doing a good job for Siesta. Mark Smith.
Oh, yeah, he's, yeah.
So I don't want to oppose him.
No.
But if he decides not to run, I am
Yeah.
about it because we
What
need
about a
special
state?
people.
What about a state?
The final segment is brought to you by the law offices of Eric Fleming, specializing in real estate closings. Mr. Fleming is also the current president of the Siesta Key Chamber of Commerce. And by Gilligan's Island Bar and Grill. Experience the heartbeat of the Siesta Village's dining and social scene.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Siesta Sand Live. I really want to thank Lourdes for coming on the program. She's such a wonderful advocate of Siesta Key. She spends so much time and energy, and we all really need to thank her for keeping Siesta Key the beautiful place that we all know and love. On to next week, we have an absolutely incredible guest coming on the show. We have secured Steve White. He is not only a Siesta Key resident, he's my neighbor, and he is a world-renowned comedian. He is guaranteed to not disappoint. I'm a little nervous and excited, but he's going to be great. And we are hoping for a live studio audience for that filming. So please come out next Thursday, December 19th. We'll be filming live at Captain Kurt's at 9 a.m. So be there or be square. I look forward to seeing everybody. And you stay sunny, Siesta.
Siesta Sand Live is broadcast from Captain Kurt's Village. It's Siesta Key's home to great food, great drinks, great music, and great times. Look for the giant American flag.